Joining me now to discuss the federal criminal charges against her filed by Trump's handpicked U.S. attorney for the state of New Jersey, who I just talked about, is Congresswoman LaMonica McIver. Congresswoman, it's great to see you. I know you have had a hell of a couple of weeks. Thank you for being here.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Jen, for having me, for allowing me to come on and talk about the facts of this case.
Of course. I was just watching, as I was preparing to talk to you today, back to some of the interviews on the day that all of this happened. And at the time, you described it, and so did your colleagues who are with you, as being assaulted by multiple ICE agents. Is that part of the argument that you want to make now and that you plan to make in court as you proceed here?
So I definitely plan on making that argument in court. I can't wait to have my day in court, where we can have due process, which this administration has stripped many of being able to have due process. But I'm looking forward to that, to telling the truth about what happened on that day.
When you look back at video, I'm sure you were just digesting it all in the moment when you were doing all those interviews that day. You've probably talked to your colleagues. As you've pieced together what happened, I mean, did you even know who you were surrounded by at the time?
It was fast. It happened so fast. I mean, I was just talking about this with Rep. Bonnie Watson the other day. We were on a segment together, and they were playing the video back, and we were just talking about how it was so disheartening to see that episode. It was a very tense situation. We were trying to ask questions, trying to get explanation from the officials that were there, and it was just so chaotic. And ICE and Homeland Security definitely escalated the situation, caused the chaos and the confrontation, and it just was so unnecessary. So it's really hard to play the videos back. It's very hard to watch, especially when we're just showing up to do our jobs, an oversight visit. That should have been simple.
It's also, I would just state, anybody can show up. You have this right as a member of Congress to an ICE facility to conduct oversight.
Without an appointment.
Without an appointment. Now, after the scrum outside that we just saw, that you have been charged with assault over, you did a tour of the ICE facility.
Yes. Yep.
Were any of the same people that you recognized from the scrum a part of that tour?
The same people were there.
The same people?
It was the same people. We actually had ICE officials come there. The ICE regional director for that area came along with many of his cabinet members. They were there, if that's what you call them. They came, they took the entire tour with us after that whole situation happened. I mean, and literally offered us a soda at that, too. But whole tour, we were able to walk the facility. We even got stuck in the elevator in the process, which, once again, that was one of the things that the mayor of Newark and the city claimed that they didn't have an inspection for, the elevator. We also were able to talk to detainees who told us that they were just very confused. They didn't know what was going on. It's been days since they had a phone call, since they talked to legal representation, which is a problem. Most of the folks we spoke to just were like, we wish we could have a phone call or someone would tell us what is going on right now. We just don't understand what is happening. And so, yeah, I've had a full tour.
It's with the same people. I'm just going to restate because I think that's a bit mind-blowing given where we are. I mentioned this in the opening of the show, that the Justice Department has a public integrity section that always has to typically approve if there are charges that are going to be filed against a member of Congress or an elected official, and sometimes those are warranted. They did not do that in this case, according to NBC reporting, which I don't know if you just learned that today, but what is your reaction to that?
I mean, it's not shocking. We've been seeing from this administration constant, breaking of the rules, constant breaking of the process, constant disregard to the Constitution. We've seen it all, and so I try not to. I always say when I came into this job in September, believe it or not, it's only been since September. It feels like it's been 20 years. But once January 20th came, it was just like, hey, try not to be surprised by some of the things that they do because they're so, outrageous. And so to see them, disregarding process as usual, it's a regular day in the Trump administration of the things that they do.
You were charged by Alina Habba. I just gave a little bit of an overview, though, there. She has quite a history. Do you think you would have been charged if it had been any other U.S. attorney in this role?
I mean, I don't think so. I mean, I don't want to speculate. I mean, I think anyone that Trump, promotes or appoints. I mean, I think they've been problematic from every department you can think of. So I wouldn't say it wouldn't happen, but it's crazy because there's so many other crimes and things to be focused on, and definitely not to be focused on a congresswoman or Congress members who were there just to do an oversight visit. We were not there to bust detainees out of prison. We've heard that come out from the DOJ. We were there for an oversight visit. And Jen, this is something that we've done before. We were just a couple of weeks ago, back in February, we were at a same kind of detention center in Elizabeth, a couple of miles away, and we went there, different, providers, third-party provider, but we were there, had a visit. There was a little delay, but we still were able to go in and do our visit. We didn't have a whole, ICE unit come and create a chaos situation for us to take a visit. This is something that we're used to doing. We've done it before. And so we had no idea that it would spiral out of this. So I just think there are so many other important things for Alina to be focused on that she should be focused on rather than trying to stop, Congress members for doing their jobs.
No question about it. Lots happening in every state. You said this morning that, Habba said you had declined every opportunity to come to a resolution. You said they wanted you to admit to something you didn't do. What did they want you to admit to?
I mean, there was a lot. We've had a week of back and forth with them, and I will say that I did not waver. I showed up there to do my job, and she wanted me to admit to doing things, all of these different lists of things that she said that I did.
Like what?
I mean, from things of impeding, there was some other things in there that she put in there, but I can't remember exactly what it was. But she wanted me to admit to these things, sign an agreement to them, and I'm not doing that, because it's not true. And there was a lot of back and forth and just tenseness, all week from her and from her office. And so at the end of the day, once again, showed up to do my job, and I don't need to apologize for doing that. That is what the people of New Jersey expect for me to do. The 744,000, almost close to 800,000 people I represent, and why should we apologize about doing our job when ICE and Homeland Security created that environment and that atmosphere that we saw out there that day?
I think one of the reasons I wanted to talk to you is there's so much disinformation out there. I want to play something that Tom Homan said earlier today on our air, which has a lot of disinformation on it, but I want to talk with you about it.
You say she has a right to do her oversight, but there's a right way to do it. Forcing yourself through officers to get in that facility is not the way to do it. We have many Congress visit our facilities. What she did was unprofessional.
He keeps using the word unprofessional, so I wonder what you think of that. But I also want to just ask you, there's a lot of inaccuracies in there. I want to give you a chance to tell everybody what all the inaccuracies are.
Absolutely. First of all, number one, we can show up to any facility, any ICE facility, unannounced. We like to come unannounced because we want to see the conditions in the state that they are, not with a planned visit where they have time to fix up anything or, coerce anything of a visit. So we can do that. We can show up. Secondly, pushed our way through? No. Before that whole situation occurred, we were inside of this facility waiting for over an hour for ICE administrators to get there to take us on this tour. We were also there with the GEO, which is the prison, the private prison company that runs this location, who we were talking with the person who was in charge of the facility, who was actually lovely, by the way. He was providing us with great information. He was like, hey, I would love to give you guys a tour, but we have to wait on ICE because they said that I can't. So at the end of the day, we're waiting over an hour for them, to come. We didn't bust our way through. We didn't do any of that. We were invited there, waiting there for them to come and give us a tour. And afterwards, we see them come, and they're rushing to focus on the mayor of Newark, which we're like, what is going on here? We're just here for our tour. Why are you going out here to deal with this situation? So at the end of the day, I mean, everything that he's saying, he doesn't have the facts. I mean, it's just so much disconnect, I think, between all of their departments and their leadership. They're not on the same page. And unprofessional, no. It's unprofessional for us to have to go through that. I think when three members of Congress show up to your gate, you should have some respect and have some professionalism with them. But this is this administration. There is no basic governing respect or, character with this administration. Things are just rogue. They're doing whatever they want to do. I mean, just not even a basic conversation. I think about coming from city council and how I used to work with colleagues, and we would disagree, but we would still show up professional, both of us, to be able to perform perform for the people that we represent. And it's just not there. The same, professionalism is not there. So I find it like kind of, it's silly and honestly outrageous for, him to call me unprofessional when they created this unprofessional situation.
Congresswoman MacIver, thank you so much for
you.
joining me.
Thank you so
I know
much,
we have
Jane.
daughters the same age. I'm sure she's very proud of you.
Thank you.
Thank you for being
so
here.
much.